every day you learn something new.
So always an experience. Strokes. Pia unajua leo nikicheza left, kiingiza right,
chokra. Because I remember kuna Friday that you put. Tikuwekelea. As is a day of putting.
engage
Engages of putting.
you see. So unaenda beachfront karibu na dam. There is chance. Nauliza
Beachfront property. Sasa
okay.
Kwa karibu na wanyama.
Animals.
Easy ecosystem. Wanyama tu. Animals. Episode 30, part 3 of Kenya's premier sports video podcast, the 3 Quarters podcast. You had me right, episode 30. That means that give or take, we've been at this for the last 30 weeks. It's not easy, but we do thank our fans, our followers, our subscribers, our viewers, and most importantly, the biggest stakeholders of the game of rugby in Kenya, the players, for the support that you have shown us for the last 30 or so weeks. And on behalf of the 3 Quarters podcast, all we can say ni asanteni na shukran sana. With every passing week, the Rugby World Cup in Japan draws closer. Rugby World Cup 2019 in Japan. The Kenya Simbas have begun their quest to earn a spot at the Rugby World Cup in Japan in 2019. They played the Uganda Rugby Cranes yesterday at the RFEEA grounds, yesterday being 24th June 2017. And although it was not the result that we desired as the fans, we still need to support these boys and we still need to show them that we are behind them. And we ask you guys to join us in supporting them. And how do you join us? Hashtag Road to Japan. Every time we talk about these guys, always talk about the hashtag Road to Japan, because we feel that if things do go our way, they will be at the Rugby World Cup in Japan in 2019, and therefore ambassadors of what this great country of ours has to offer in Japan. So Road to Japan hashtag, jump on Twitter and let's support the boys. This is Nash, your official noisemaker,
Jeringus Kenyana.
and this is part 3 where we try to appeal to each and every other fan or our guys who are fans of other sports other than rugby. Here's where we talk about everything else other than rugby.
Yeah.
So first we talk about the FIFA Confederation Cup 2017 that's taking place in Russia, just to educate those who might not know what the Confed Cup is about. The Confederation Cup, it's a competition that's between 8 countries.
Yeah.
Normally the winners of each and every continental trophy,
yeah,
plus the hosts for the next World Cup.
Yeah.
So the next World Cup 2018 is going to be in Russia next year. So the guys we have competing is of course Russia being the hosts by default, Germany being the world champion, Portugal being European champions,
Yep.
Cameroon being the African champions, Chile being the Copa America champions,
Yeah.
Australia being the Asia Cup champions,
Yep.
and New Zealand being the Oceania region,
Oceania.
yes, champions.
Islands.
Exactly. So it's a tournament that happens for about two weeks.
Yeah.
I want to ask you what you think about it just now, or the current state of the Confed Cup. What are your thoughts about it just now? Forget about the results that have happened so far.
It's reflective, as is,
Mhm.
considering the semi-finals we are just about to get to the semi-finals, which will be on the 28th
Yes.
and the 29th of June.
Yes.
And the likes that might get there, the teams that might get there, is reflective
Yes.
of how the football world has been.
Yes.
The likes of Chile having a very good, fantastic season, run of seasons, the last, let's say, 3 years.
Yes.
The Germans, of course,
Yeah.
that's a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Portuguese with last year
Portuguese as well.
championships.
Yeah. And Mexico.
Actually, Mexico are the CONCACAF champions.
The Americas.
Yes, the Americas, they are
Yeah.
CONCACAF champions, so yes,
Mm.
Mexico. What's just annoying for me or unfortunate is that the Confed Cup used to be a very big thing a while
Yeah,
back, about
it
6-7
was.
years ago.
True.
Prior to the one that happened in, no, actually the last big one was the one that happened in South Africa, prior to the South Africa World Cup. Nowadays, you don't have too many things happening. Even the German team that has been sent to Germany doesn't have their
It's weak.
stars.
Yeah, it's a bit weak. Yeah.
So I think countries are shunning off or not taking the Confed Cup seriously, but it's also a good way to see the progress of the stadiums and construction and the organization of the World Cup, FIFA World Cup that's going to be in Russia next year, 2018.
So we have to gauge on how well prepared they are.
Exactly.
And also what they need to work on.
Exactly. So the Confederations Cup is happening as we speak. FIFA Confed Cup 2017 is being played in Russia. Therefore, your games come about afternoon or around 6 p.m. Make a point of catching up and seeing what's happening in the world of international football. We come back home from the Confederation Cup. We talk about the people who've been the biggest sponsors of sports in the last few years. SportPesa. SportPesa have issued a statement following the signing or the assenting to the finance amendment bill by the president last week, which effectively raises or puts the tax for betting firms at 35%. SportPesa therefore gone ahead to issue notice to everyone who they sponsor: Kenya Premier League, Gor Mahia, AFC, Kenya Rugby Union, Kenya Harlequins, putting them on notice that starting January 2018, they cease sponsoring because of these new tax laws. What are your thoughts about this issue?
Well, it's sad that this had to happen, considering what they've been doing, what they brought into the sport, the amount of money that they've really put in, the respective federations that they're sponsoring. And for the government to come in and slap this tax on them, and yet these guys are doing what the government should have been doing all along. It's a bit sad. It's a sad situation. However, these guys are making money as well, so I can only hope that this tax that has the increased amount of tax that they'll be paying, the Ministry of Sports and Culture should actually make that money work and not pocketing it and get the usual scandals that
we
has
have
been the narrative.
There's that part, of course, about yes, the tax that they add, but I think about it, the betting laws were very flimsy in Kenya prior to this one. And I might be wrong, but off the top of my head, I think the betting firms were under the corporate tax, which is at about 30%. There are various tax brackets for different companies. IT companies get subsidies on tax. Foreign companies pay about 40% in terms of taxes, and these guys are going to be paying 35%. My biggest issue with SportPesa's noise is that, first, they're making a hell lot of money from people, number one. Number two, they're sinking in a lot of money outside Kenya. In
More
sports.
than what they're giving us.
Yes, La Liga, Arsenal, Southampton, Hull City, Everton as well. So they're giving a lot of support outside Kenya than they are doing it here. And as you're saying, they're making a lot of money. So to be added for not just on 5% over and above, because they're trying to allude to the fact, and you remember what they said during the proposed budget was that if the proposed budget was at 50%, if they get to that 50%, then we'll pull out, which was legit. 50% is a bit high. But come on, you're in the bracket of corporate tax to like foreign companies tax, 30 to 40%. And I'll disagree with you on one point. I don't think Kenya should be at the point where government is interfering even in terms of monetary issues in sports. It should be on corporates. And I think where the government is making a blunder and where the sensitization is not happening, because the same bill talks about if you sponsor sports, you get a tax rebate. So they're not talking about that.
They're not talking
about corporate companies. If you sponsor sports, you get a tax rebate. Guys are not talking about that. So I think
hot air.
I think it's hot air. I don't follow this. I don't think they're going to go through with it, but we just have to wait and see how it goes with this story. The NBA awards are going to be happening tomorrow. Tomorrow being 26th of June 2017. Just to mention that this is the first time they're going to be doing this. Previously, what used to happen is that by the time the first round of the playoffs was happening, they had given all the awards save for the NBA Finals MVP. So now, starting this year, they are going to be having an award ceremony after. Which are very bright because they then make a hell lot of money from advertisements and all that. But they're happening on 26th of June 2017. Just I'll highlight what people have been talking about most. NBA MVP, League MVP. What do you think it's going to go to?
Wow. Now, considering that these guys, it was initially, before we got to the playoffs, it was between James Harden, of the Houston Rockets, and Russell Westbrook, OKC. Well, I'd give it to Russell. Westbrook. As much as Harden took his team, carried his team much further. Russell really, as an individual, really put up some nice, fantastic stats.
Yes.
And had a very, very excellent season.
Averaging a triple-double across throughout the whole season.
That's some big that's a big step.
It is, but I'll go back to what I think we talked about in episode 22, because I think that's when you mentioned this. Okay, fine, Russell Westbrook has been doing magnificent things, or did magnificent things this season. He set records that haven't been set before. But I'll stick to what I said back then. I don't feel like Russell Westbrook enriched, for lack of a better word, his other teammates, or his teammates, something that James Harden did. And we saw that when it got to the postseason. Russell Westbrook, they squared up against each other, by the way, OKC versus Thunder, and Thunder hit them in 5 games. So I still think it's going to be James Harden, but we have to wait and see. By the time we're shooting episode 31, we will know who the NBA MVP is. The Azerbaijan Grand Prix, Formula 1. Goes, you want to give us the results?
Yeah. Finally, the Red Bull guys have a win. Coming in first was Daniel Ricciardo of Red Bull. Second was Bottas of Mercedes. Then you have Lance Stroll of Williams. Then Vettel of Ferrari came in 4th. Lewis Hamilton of Mercedes came in 5th. The drivers' standings, as it stands, Vettel is still leading. Then Hamilton coming in 2nd. Then Bottas coming in 3rd.
Okay, that's the results from Azerbaijan for the Grand Prix. That is Azerbaijan Grand Prix, which is a leg. It's a new leg actually for the Formula 1. So you've had the results from F1 Guru. And goes, it takes us to a bonus topic takes us to a bonus topic for this week. The bonus topic is where we try to bring sports debates to the screen, things that happen behind screens, in bars, in sitting rooms, wherever you talk about sports. We try to bring these debates to the screen. So the debate for today is going to be: is the current dominance by the New Zealand All Blacks and New Zealand rugby teams a result of poor competition in the general rugby space, or as a result of just sheer excellence from the New Zealand All Blacks? Gus, I'll let you go first.
I'd say the other teams, the standard went a bit low. Case in point, the Springboks. Yeah, when the likes of Victor Matfield was still playing, and Botha, these guys were at a top. They could actually win games against the All Blacks.
That's true.
Easily.
Yes.
But now the succession, the young guys coming in, I don't think they had that plan right. And the game went a bit low. Australia as well, they really went a bit low.
That's true.
But then again, give credit where it's due. New Zealand have maintained some high standards. If anything, they've improved. That's sheer excellence.
Yes.
They've been dominating, and by maintaining that high standard, other teams have stepped up. England,
Ireland, yes.
Those guys, Ireland even ended the All Blacks.
All Blacks and England.
Yes. Unbeaten run.
Yeah.
So I think I'll give credit where it's due.
Yes.
All Blacks have been just excellent.
Yes.
They've just been superior.
Yeah.
If anything, they could be, to me, the best team sport ever.
You know, they say that the New Zealand All Blacks are the most successful professional team in sports.
I think they are.
Yeah, with a win rate of about 88% or thereabouts. So, my thoughts on this, I tend to agree with you. I mean, look at South Africa. They kept Victor Matfield and Bakis Botha around for so long.
What was he doing?
What was he doing at the 2015 World Cup? You know, they kept him around for so long. He had already retired, by the way, after the 2011 World Cup. South Africa has also been affected by politics. That's why their game has gone down. But England also, as I say, give credit to its due. England, Ireland, Wales to some extent have actually had a good game. I thought, and that's why I peg it down more to sheer excellence. I thought with the exit of the core team of New Zealand, Tony Woodcock, Manonu, Richie McCaw, Dan Carter, Conrad Smith, I thought with their exit, New Zealand were going to dip. But all that has happened is that these guys have taken off. And especially Dan Carter, because the longevity, and Richie McCaw, the longevity they gave these guys. So, as much as, yes, we do say that some other teams have deteriorated, especially Southern Hemisphere, because those are the guys the All Blacks play against most. They haven't had a chance to play against England so far, and England are the second-ranked team. Then would have a good dimension of what's happening in the game of rugby as we speak. But give credit to where it's due, as you've said. The New Zealand All Blacks are playing on a level. There's the All Blacks, and then there's everyone else. I think they're the only guys with their standings above 90%. Everyone else
in the 80s.
In the 80s and 70s. So yeah, I do think that these guys are just
That's Kenya on the 50s.
57.
Yeah, 57. Going to 60.
Going to 60. Yeah, I just think that the New Zealand All Blacks are it's as a result of sheer excellence as opposed to poor competition in this scene right now. That has been episode 30, part 3 of Kenya's Premier Sports Video Podcast, 3 Quarters Podcast. We always ask you guys to follow us on Instagram, to like our Facebook page, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Content comes thick and fast on 3 Quarters Podcast. Thank you very much for the support that you've given us over the last 30 weeks. We don't take it for granted. Tunasema asanteni, tunasema shukran, and continue giving us those views each and every week. This has been Nashi, official noisemaker.
Jeringus Kenyana.
Episode 31, Kiko Jikoni, Kinapikwa is loading. Keep it live, keep it locked. Cheers, guys.
Oh man. Panama boy microwave.
Jiko.